Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some Tales from Tech Support. Please check out the KCC Discord linked in the description down below. There you can talk to me and a whole bunch of KCC fans who hang out there on a regular basis. I look forward to seeing you there. Our first story today comes to us from Band Crazy. Help, my password reset locked me out of an unrelated system. No, I won't stay on the phone, just fix it. Let's jump right in. I manage a system for about 400 users, and every 3 months for compliance purposes, we have to force password resets. We have detailed instructions, complete with pictures that we send out to every single user the day of the password reset. Then, do the reset late in the afternoon. We have had the exact same password reset procedure for about 2 years now, so this isn't anything new. Thankfully, I have not had to deal directly with users in a while, but I interact daily with the people who do, and we're sharing a team space where we be about work all day to each other, so I go to watch this from a nice, safe distance. We reset passwords on Friday evening. Yesterday, Miss Difficult called, and I knew it was going to be a treat to deal with her. For some background, Miss Difficult seems to know a great deal about a lot of her job. She's great with customers, great with actual legally required knowledge for this field. To say she's not great with tech is an insult to people who say they're not great with tech and make an effort. Until I transitioned away from a user-facing job, I was her go-to for every issue, especially ones that weren't part of my department. I'd reiterate that it wasn't my department and tell her who to reach out to, but she always came back to me. She always calls, never responds to emails, and works remotely from everyone else in her management structure. By the time that group hired a new manager, I had a spreadsheet of phone call logs that I made, including detailed notes about what their call was about, how long it was, and the resolution, which always ended up leading into another call later. I was on the phone or working issues for this woman 5 hours a week. One user. It did get a bit better when the manager came on, but this woman still can't handle technology at all. On to yesterday. I knew Miss Difficult would be difficult and warned my team on our morning call. I told them all the exact issues I've worked with her on password resets in the past. Miss Difficult predictably calls in, and one of the newer folks answers. Lana, not her real name, may be new, but she is on it and is working her butt off to know her crap. She's good and takes no crap from anyone. She tells Miss Difficult to open the procedures we send out every time and walk through it with her. Miss Difficult insists she's done this and can't find a code verification button. This is a new one to me, but it could be because she was trying to log in through another location. More on that in a bit. Says she's going to try to figure it out on her own, she'll call back later. As to the wrong location, the system I manage can only be accessed for our users within another system. Some people who use this system can log in from a website and have full functionality, but due to my company's unique setup, our users can't. The password reset, however, has to be done via the website. Annoying, but that's how it is. Miss Difficult calls back later in the day, after Lana has left for the day. John, again fake name, takes the call. John has been in this department the longest. He knows his crap forwards, backwards, and sideways. He offers to call Miss Difficult on Teams and share screens so he can walk her through the sticking points. She says she's locked out of the system and can't log in. He asks a few more questions, and it turns out it's the other software she's locked out of, and she's saying it's our software that did it. This is absolutely impossible. That's like saying resetting your EA Origin password somehow locked you out of Steam. That's not how it works at all. John got with the department that actually manages that password and had them unlock her account. Still had a Teams call going, but she kept putting him on hold and asking to call back later. It's after 5:30 for John, so he clocked out and left it until today. It was only 3:30 for Miss Difficult, but she is fully aware that we're 2 hours ahead. She works obscene hours anyway. Turns out she locked herself out of the other software again, and is demanding we unlock it for her. Lana gets on the call with the other department, they unlock it again, and Lana emails Miss Difficult and says it's done. she can log in with her existing password, which somehow, despite using it daily, Miss Difficult can't remember. So now she has 2 passwords to reset and is asking the wrong department for help again. I think somehow they did get it figured out, and they're also compiling everything to send on to Miss Difficult's manager, along with recaps of all the phone calls, and we'll do it all again in another 90 days. So glad I don't interact with users anymore. I really don't understand this changing passwords every 3 months thing. If there is absolutely no instance of threat or anything in the background that's saying, hey, you need to change your passwords, then why would you do it every 3 months? It seems to me like it might just be putting on a show. Like, look how concerned about security we are, you have to change your passwords every 3 months. Even though it really accomplishes nothing except taking up resources every 3 months. Do me a quick favor and take a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're actually not subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. This next story comes to us from Donatius. No, Karen, you have to go to cybersecurity for a password reset? Yes, I'm sure. No, you're not going to get me fired, Karen. Let's jump right in. So at Stupid Industries LLC, we have an IT department and a cybersecurity department. These 2 departments both have admin access to the entire system network, but cybersecurity falls under the security department, and whereas we handle IT issues not related to security. One of the many things that cybersecurity handles is password recovery and password resets. Namely, if you forget your password, you have to march yourself down to cybersecurity's office and face them in person to get your password reset. The upside to this is that any issue related to passwords isn't my problem. Yesterday, I'm in the Batcave supervising the IT interns and running the help desk. I get a phone-in call. IT department, how can we help you? This is Karen, assistant VP of the bean counting department. How can we help you, Karen? I ask. Your stupid system isn't taking my password. Okay, Karen. Can you have an office neighbor take 5 seconds and try to log themselves into your computer to see if there's a problem with the computer? I ask. I patiently wait for the Banshee to strong-arm someone into doing it. He got logged in just fine. It's just me. Well, Karen, I think you're going to have to walk down to cybersecurity to get your password reset. I explain. But I already called you. Why can't you do it for me? She shrieks. I swear I can hear her across the building. I'm sorry, Karen. Cybersecurity handles password recovery. Don't forget to take your company ID when you walk down to cybersecurity. I explain. At Moron Corp, the IT department handled password recovery over the phone. Why can't you do it? Well, Karen, here at Stupid Industries, only cybersecurity can recover passwords. I explain. But they said they would write me up if I came in another time to get a new password. Can you please do it for me? Well, Karen, I don't know what to say, but you're just going to have to go down to cybersecurity. I'll have your job for this, you pimple-faced nerd. She proceeded to use some naughty words before hanging up on me. I wrote it up as a ticket in the ticket system and closed the ticket out, making notes of the time she called in and her abusive language. That afternoon, my boss calls me into his office. Got a call from HR. You have a complaint, OP. Karen in the bean counting department? I asked. Why, yes. Care to explain yourself? He asked. Troubleshot her issue, referred her to cybersecurity for a password reset, wrote up the ticket, number 220222439. I say, reading it off of a notepad in my pocket. Uh-huh, he mutters. He looks it up on the computer. Okay, let's listen to the call log, he tells me. 7 to 8 minutes later, we are having a laugh about it, and he emails the head of the bean counting department the call log from the IT line. We also had a call into HR about her abusive language over the phone. Moral of the story, call logs are your friend. Well, I don't know about all of you out there, but I just don't understand the lack of respect that the IT department gets. These are the people that keep your businesses running. You should hold them high on a pedestal and shower them with gifts and everything you can think of. Unfortunately, that's just not the way it works in the real corporate world. But OP, you're right about one thing, call logs are definitely your friend. You pimple-faced nerd. This next story comes to us from Blackwood Bear 79. C3PO and art don't mix. Let's jump right in. This is an oldie but wowie goodie. The last couple of summers of high school, I worked under the table for an accountancy office. Fact 1. After high school, I worked in retail in an office supply store for a couple of years. Fact 2. And was headhunted for a Mac support position at an online catalog retailer. I started training the week after Thanksgiving. I got on the phones the week between Christmas and New Year's 1999. I was seated at the desk of the Mac trainer because shadow training was a thing then. One of the first calls I had was from a woman who had received a brand new iMac and printer for Christmas. She was a worship leader of some sort at her church and was trying to print out something inspiring and heartwarming because the winter of '99 was a bad one wherever she was, and she wanted to evoke spring early in the new year. Except the graphics she was adding to her newsletter weren't showing up. We reinstalled drivers. We reinstalled her publishing software. We tried different USB ports, even tried going through the keyboard USB port. We tried cleaning the print cartridges, even though they, like the printer, were brand new, and the cleaning cycle on Epson inkjets at the time were tremendously wasteful processes. We tried replacement ink cartridges because someone had the foresight to send her extras. At this point, I've got both support managers listening into the call, both trainers leaning over my shoulder, and a good handful of the team milling about, trying to offer suggestions. I was about to process an RMA for the printer when something she stated out of pique caught my attention. I just don't get it. Where the graphic is supposed to be is wet. Needless to say, she never mentioned this before. I latched onto that. Say that again, please? What do you mean wet? Well, it's a newsletter, which I think I've already said. I just love flowers. Daisies are my favorite, so I wanted a few daisies on the page for springy feelings, you know? Ma'am, out of curiosity, are your daisy images black line art? Oh, no honey, they're full color, just a beautiful yellow. You wouldn't know they weren't photographs. This technology is so amazing. And you say the page is wet? By this point, her frustration had waned, and she's just answering questions in between stories about her church, her grandkids, etc. Yeah, right where the flower is supposed to be. Light bulb. Ma'am, what color is your paper? Why, goldenrod, of course. Ma'am, you can't print yellow flowers onto yellow paper. That's like using a blue crayon on blue construction paper. It just won't work. I had to mute my phone because of all the people laughing behind me. Later, someone asked me how I knew what in the hell color goldenrod was. Well, outside of C3PO being called that as a nickname pretty consistently in Star Wars, I'd worked with Fax 1 and Fax 2, all different colors of color-specific corrective liquid. One was goldenrod, and it was a mix of near nuclear yellow and orange. OP, I'm not sure you quite understand where C3PO got that nickname from, because if I'm not mistaken, goldenrod came from a particular trading card that was taken at a pretty uncomplimentary angle, and, well, C3PO had a pretty, interesting looking golden rod in the appropriate location. I think we'll just leave it at that. Y'all can Google that if you want to. This next story comes to us from Mammoth Warning. Woman doesn't listen to my warning before accidentally bashing her head open with an amplifier. Let's jump right in. I used to work for a company that supplies overhead music to big business chains. Think Target, Starbucks, Hot Topic, etc. My department provides technical support to stores when their music isn't working. Now, I don't have a lot of tech service stories because of how our system works. When something goes down in a store, we're not talking to some area manager Karen who's ready to scream at us for the music being down. Rather, we have to troubleshoot with the stores themselves. So if we're calling a Starbucks location, it's going to be some uninvested barista or assistant manager that couldn't care less that their system isn't blaring "All I Want for Christmas Is You" 20 times a day. Mind you, that does mean that we have a hard time getting the people at the store to troubleshoot with us at all. So was the case with the Starbucks I called. The first 3 attempts went something like this. Hey there, my name's OP from insert company name here. I'm reaching out today regarding your overhead music Is a manager available to talk? This is her. When is a technician coming out? Unfortunately, I'm unable to send a tech out unless I verify some things with the system first. Do you have time to remote troubleshoot? No, just send a tech. Click. Brr. This happened a few times over the course of 2 days, trying to call at all different times to try and catch the store at a less busy time. Unfortunately, due to company policy, we cannot send a technician out except for under 2 conditions. 1. New equipment needs to be installed. 2. There's an issue that cannot be solved remotely. Eventually, on my 4th or 5th call, the manager finally relented. Once we get the store to agree to troubleshoot, it generally only takes 5 minutes. We have very simple setups. A music player connects to the internet for playlist updates and also feeds music to an amplifier. The amp sends the music to the speakers in the store. If you can hook up a video game console, you can hook up one of our players. And even the least tech-savvy person can usually follow along with our instructions for troubleshooting. So we begin. Great. Are you able to locate your music player and amplifier? No, I don't know where they are. Have you ever changed the volume of the music in your store? Yes, there's a box with a little knob. That's the amplifier. Well, how was I supposed to know that? I rolled my eyes and apologized for not being clearer, but continued anyway. It's up on a shelf too high. I can't reach it. Well, how do you reach it when you want to change the volume? I get a step stool, but I don't know where it is right now. I try my best not to sigh in exasperation as she tries her very best to insist that there's no way she can troubleshoot. She just repeatedly asks if I can send a tech and whines about not being able to reach the equipment. Ma'am, I'm sure you'll find the step stool if you look. Fine then, I'll just use my chair. Huge red flag went up. I'd advise against that, ma'am. It might not be stable. I think I'm perfectly capable of standing on a chair. Thank you. Ma'am, some of that equipment is very heavy, and it's not safe to use a chair to reach it for troubleshooting. Listen, why don't you stick to doing your job and not worry about what I'm doing, okay? After she says this, I hear some skidding noises coming from the other end of the phone. Is everything alright? I'm fine. Just rolling my office chair to the shelf. Ma'am, please don't stand on a chair with wheels. She ignored me completely and just asked, okay, so what am I? She was abruptly cut off as I heard a loud thud followed by an even louder crash. Ma'am, are you okay? No answer. I try in vain for about a minute to call out to the woman on the other end, steadily getting more and more worried that she's seriously injured. Eventually, someone else picks up the phone. Hey, so, she can't come back to the phone right now. Her forehead is bleeding. What happened? So, not only did she fall off the chair onto her back, but she had brought the amplifier with her. Our amplifiers are about the size of an Xbox, and the corners are not rounded. It had landed on its corner on her forehead while she was lying prone on the ground. After a few moments of stunned silence, not knowing where to go from here, I simply ask, is the amp disconnected from everything else? Yeah. Cool. Then this counts as an install. I'm sending a technician. Have a nice day. Click. Brr. I take a moment to recover before going back to making outbound calls. Luckily, the store never calls to complain about that interaction, and I continue on with my day, acting as if it never happened. Okay, first of all, I really hope your calls are recorded, because you advised them many times not to stand on that chair, and they didn't listen. That recording would definitely cover your butt. Okay, OP, now you need to call this person back and say something like this. Good afternoon, ma'am. Tech support here. I see there's a note on our record saying you prefer to play heavy metal music. Oh, sorry for the misunderstanding, but it does say you're a headbanger. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.